And this week, it's a new title all about Russia. Professor Taras Kuzio is an associate fellow at the Henry Jackson Society, and his new book is titled Russian Disinformation and Western Scholarship. So Professor Taras Kuzio joins me live now from Holland. Professor, thank you so much for joining me. The book sounds intriguing. Can you start by giving me an overview on what it's all about?
Well, I've been following how quite a few Western academics are the Kremlin's useful idiots. I mean, they've been, this is primarily on the far left, so the Jeremy Corbyn far left, but you also get them on the far right, of course, as well. But academics tend to be more on the left. And they've been parroting the Kremlin line on all sorts of issues, going back to it's all the West's fault for the crisis in Ukraine in 2014. I'm sure they're saying the same thing now with the Russian invasion. Many of them supported Russia's annexation of Crimea. You get a lot of that within, for example, Western historians of Russia. They kind of make the argument that Crimea was always Russian. What's the big deal that it was taken back by Russia in 2014? And you know, it's kind of this weird situation where they are, I'm sure they believe they're on the left, but they're actually, their views about Ukraine are quite racist, quite colonialist, and they are basically just parroting the Kremlin's line on the Russian nationalist line that Ukraine and Ukrainians don't exist. But they would never admit that. And many of those people involved in that whole disinformation in British academia and I think to some degree in journalism have blood on their hands. I mean, they are people who promoted and disseminated the Kremlin line in the last 8 years. And they have never been really, as it were, pulled up about it until people like myself do it.
So your books then, and your motivation obviously was trying to expose these people and without giving all of it away type thing. So where does it go with this? Is it a story or is it just simply a documentation of how this misinformation is allowed to happen?
Well, I published a book already about 2 years ago in 2020 called Crisis in Russian Studies, where I go into how Western and particularly British academics who write about Russia, who write about Russian history, are really parroting a very nationalist line, which is now used by Putin, of course, as his excuse to invade Ukraine, because Putin's line, the Kremlin line, is that there is no Ukraine, there is no Ukrainian people. This is a Russian land, which is in dire need of liberating from these horrible American puppets that are running it at the moment. And that's the Kremlin line. And of course, if you're on the Jeremy Corbyn left of politics, you believe that because your anti-Americanism makes you pro-Kremlin. And surprise, surprise, you do get these people with these kind of views in academia, not just British academia, in American as well. And my approach is to analyze what they write, show them to be Kremlin useful idiots, and to expose them, basically, name and shame them.
Well, listen, it's really good to talk to you, Professor Taras. Thank you so much for joining us. That's Professor Taras Kuzio. He's the author of Russian Disinformation and Western Scholarship and Associate. He's also an Associate Research Fellow at the Henry Jackson Society. Really good to talk to you.